I said earlier that there were two things that the government did this week that showed profound arrogance and revealed just how over-governed and unfree Australia has become since the turn of the century. The first was the appalling COVID report that seeks to let bad leaders who behave with gobsmacking arrogance and wrecked people's lives off the hook with nothing more than a slap on the wrist. The second is this story: the banning of Candace Owens from our shores by our nanny-state overlords. The banning of a speaker whose tour has already sold thousands of tickets, that thousands of Aussies have decided they do want to see. But you can't children, on the dubious claim that she might cause some kind of national discord if she's allowed to tour here.
The headline, this is from news.com, Tony Burke blocks visa for far-right U.S. influencer Candace Owens. He is the immigration minister, by the way, over in Australia. And I also want to make it clear to you guys that I found out at the same time that the press found out. So his office chose to leak this. This is supposed to be a private application process. So unless I spoke about this, no one should have known about this. But they chose to leak this, which I think is absolutely stunning. But listen, like I've been kind of stunned throughout this entire process, obviously, because Tony Burke, before we had even applied for a visa, said that if she applies, we're going to reject it. And I just am very interested in the process, I guess, just what goes on in this country, which is supposed to be, supposed to be a free country, I assume. But I guess the immigration minister can unilaterally make these sorts of decisions.
Candace Owens is an American mother of three. She's been a prominent conservative commentator for years now, with tens of millions of fans around the world. She speaks on a wide range of topics and for hours a week on her online show. Chances are she's gonna upset some people some of the time. That's what shows like this do. That's what free speech is all about. Chances are she's gonna occasionally take the wrong track on something. That's what shows like this do. I'm not gonna get into what she said or what they said she said, because what matters in this particular case is not whether we agree with what she said or even if we find some of it utterly appalling. What matters is that our government is deciding that you don't even get to make your own mind up about that. That the core principles of free speech in our country are being ripped from us more and more every single day. And not enough of us are completely outraged by it. Without free speech, we have no freedom. It is the most fundamental freedom. The right to speak and discuss and debate bad ideas so we can learn, grow, and get rid of them. And the complete rejection that any government has any right to tell you what you can or cannot say, or worse, what you must or must not say. So it leads me to this, folks. Who the hell do Anthony Albanese and this clown, Tony Burke, and the entire bureaucracy in Canberra and the E-Safety Commission and all these creepy little people that want to tell you how to live your life and treat you like children, who the hell do they think they are?
Listen, I want to be careful here because I actually don't want to stoop to his level. I want to kind of take the approach of speaking about what's actually going on here, because it's quite serious. It is quite serious when you have a person who says that the reason that I am not allowed to travel to Australia, never been in trouble in my entire life. I have traveled to, I was literally in Tokyo 2 weeks ago. I've traveled all over the world. Literally just all over the world, from China to Tokyo to everywhere, Hungary to Croatia to Italy to France. I mean, you name it, down to South America. I've been there and I've just never been in trouble. And yet the reason that he gave to the public was because I had the capacity to incite discord in almost every direction. The quotation he gave back in November was, from downplaying the impact of the Holocaust with comments about Mengele through to claims that Muslims started slavery, Candace Owens has the capacity to incite discord in almost every direction. Okay. So of course that's just not true. And one of the things that's really remarkable is when you see people writing these articles about things that I allegedly said, they all keep saying the ADL says she said this. So they're talking about a Zionist organizations that says that she said this. I guess none of them can fact check that themselves. They just want to give an excuse to the public that this was somehow done legitimately. And of course, there is not a single, they cannot produce a clip of me talking about Joseph Mengele because it doesn't exist. They literally cannot produce a clip of that. I have no idea how it is that you are alleging that I am like both anti-Muslim and anti-Semitic. Again, all of this is to just make a statement to try to present me as some very scary person akin to Adolf Hitler.
It's disgusting. It's disgusting not because they're not banning Candace Owens. They're banning you. They're banning me. They're banning us from choosing whether we want to see Candace Owens or not. The ban's on us. There's one reason and one reason only that they're banning her from entering Australia. They are on the political left and she is on the political right. That is it. It's a gross abuse of power and it is political censorship. And we cannot let this happen. And if you are on the political left, you need to put your politics aside on this one and be as outraged as people on the right are, because it can easily be you next. Candace has gone down rabbit holes that I totally disagree with. I've looked at a lot of stuff too, and I've concluded that the Jewish people are not one big identity politics group who all think the same way. That in its original and most basic form, Zionism was an open and upfront political movement to get the Jews back to their homeland and was totally valid, not some dark hidden conspiracy theory. And I totally disagree with her on the Israel-Palestine war in Gaza. But I have friends who disagree with me. Many of you who watch this show disagree with me on Israel. I get it all the time. That's supposed to be allowed. We have a beer, we talk, we disagree, we stay friends. That's how a healthy, normal country behaves. But why is it always the left that wants to shut down discussion and cut off friendships? Always the left. They call the right deplorables. They assume we're dumb. They call us Nazis when we go to a normal political rally in Madison Square Garden or march in the streets of Melbourne against draconian abuse of power during COVID. There's been an inquiry. It wasn't a draconian abuse of power. We could say that now. And then they ask, why is our world so polarized nowadays? Ooh, there's so much polarization, particularly in evil America. Evil America? Really? It's because you guys won't talk about anything. That's why. The left just want to shut everything down and rule with an iron fist, which says a lot, in my view, about the quality of their arguments. You can always tell how good someone's argument is by how fast they run to an ad hominem attack, personal attack, playing the man and not the ball, the weak, pathetic strategy of reputation destruction.
I always talk about the Hitler hoax. When you get to the point where people start saying or trying to make you believe that there is someone out there that supports Adolf Hitler, like they got on a stage and they got up and they were like, Joseph Mengele is great and Hitler's great, you know that you are dealing with someone who is intentionally lying. And a perfect example of that was when I debated Rabbi Shmuley and he recycled the Hitler talking point, which the ADL has recycled for years, saying that I once got up on a stage and I supported Adolf Hitler. And Piers Morgan slapped it down in one of the most beautiful manners that I've ever seen live on TV. Take a listen. I want to jog your memory on that.
And when she said in 2018 that she has no issue with Hitler because he was a nationalist, but then he wanted to go beyond her borders. Even then, we didn't call her an anti-Semite. That's an absurd thing to say, that you had no issue with Hitler. Hitler, even domestically by then, had enacted all the Nuremberg laws. There was already the November 9th, 1938 pogrom.
Hang on.
And she
okay,
said, wait.
Just to clarify, let's take these one at a time. What do you believe she said about Adolf Hitler in the clip you're talking about?
She said that there was no issue with Hitler except for the fact that he went beyond his borders. If he was a nationalist, that would have been enough.
Let me play the clip.
His domestic. No, but my point is, no one called her. My
in
point
the
is,
interest of fairness, I'm going to play the clip so that viewers who've never heard it can hear what actually got said.
Yeah, I agree. I actually don't have any problems at all with the word nationalism. I think that it gets the definition gets poisoned by elitists that actually want globalism. Globalism is what I don't want. So when you think about whenever we say nationalism, the first thing people think about, in at least in America, is Hitler. You know, he was a National Socialist, but if Hitler just wanted to make Germany great and have things run well, okay, fine. The problem is that he had dreams outside of Germany. He wanted to globalize. He wanted everybody to be German, everybody to be speaking German, everybody to look a different way. That's not, to me, that's not nationalism. In thinking about how it could go bad down the line, I don't really have an issue with nationalism. I really don't. I think that it's okay. It's important to retain your country's identity and to make sure that what's happening here, which I think is incredibly worrisome in terms of the decrease in the birth rate that we're seeing in the UK, is what you kind of want to avoid. So I don't have I have no problems with nationalism. It's globalism that I try to avoid.
So, Candace, on that specific point, would you say that Rabbi Shmuley has categorized it correctly or not?
He's just openly lying, and that's why he didn't want you to play the clip. I was in the UK, by the way. I was at the Royal Mobile Club. There were Jewish journalists in the room, and nothing was written about it until months later when somebody was working on a hit piece about me.
A hit piece. A hit piece. You know, we've become too comfortable with that word. We're too comfortable with a world in which so-called journalists at places like The Guardian or Four Corners do hit pieces about people. Hit pieces should not be normalized. They're not okay. Hit pieces are distorted propaganda pretending to be journalism designed to do one thing: reputation destruction. And reputation destruction is violence. If you think bullying is a bad thing, as a lot of our friends on the left do, if bullying is like assault, then reputation destruction is murder. So hit pieces are like reputational attempted murder, and we should never be okay with that.
I didn't even mention Jewish people. I didn't mention the Holocaust. And suddenly you have people like Rabbi Shmuley who are pretending that I got up there and I defended Adolf Hitler. It's really important to see how these lies are formed in the media. And I know, and I trust my audience, they know better than to think that I would ever be on a platform like saying Joseph Mengele or Hitler was great. And if I truly did say that, then you would probably rest assured that if I showed up into Australia, people wouldn't be attending my shows. They wouldn't be attending my shows. People would actually be legitimately outraged because the majority of people, the overwhelming majority of people, would never go out and truly support someone who says, yes, Adolf Hitler was just an amazing person.
Well, you'd think so. You'd think Australia was a free country if you're an American. You'd think we let our adult citizens make up their own mind about stuff. But sadly, you'd be wrong. What Australia has become in the past couple of decades is absolutely unrecognisable from the Australia I grew up in and that I left when I moved overseas in 2001. Australia is now a nanny state run by people who think they have some right to rule over the people when they're supposed to be serving the people. Most of them, the people, it seems, are happy to let them do it. So here we are. Big Brother Canberra is at it again, meddling in your freedom to make up your own mind and go here, Candace, for yourself. Never mind the cost to the Australian promoters of this tour, who I think should sue the government for millions in my view. Never mind your right to judge for yourself. There's just one final thing. There's a lot more that Candace goes into in her video this week about what's happening in Gaza that I don't have time to bring you here. And I don't want to confuse the issues. Candace's position on this war is not the point here. The point is she's not a threat to anyone or anything, and our pathetic government is banning her entering what used to be my free country. And that makes me more angry than anything else I've probably ever spoken about on this show. But I urge you to watch Candace's full video. It's on YouTube. It's called Oops, I Got Fired from Australia. Because she says a lot about why she feels the way she does now about how Israel has prosecuted this war. I still disagree with her. War is horrendous, children suffer, but the answer can't always be that nobody gets hurt today, because we also have to consider the children on the other side. But she's coming from a good place. She's a good person, and she's definitely no threat to anyone. I'm grossly ashamed of my country right now, and we are being rightly embarrassed, shamed, and condemned on the world stage for how we've allowed our leaders to take us deep, deep, deep into being a nanny state. We are a laughingstock among free thinkers around the world, and sadly, we deserve every bit of it. If you have a Netflix or other streaming media account from a global company and you're on holidays and log in from another country, you may have noticed that shows that are available in those other countries are different. That's because different media companies have different deals with different streaming services in different countries. Imagine being able to log into Netflix, though, as if you were in America, or maybe a country that speaks a language other than English that you speak, to access more shows, but you can do it all without leaving your couch here in Australia. Well, there is a way. There is a way. Private Internet Access VPN is a virtual private network. You download their app onto your phone, your TV, your computer, whatever you use, and it'll route your data through a different server location. Not only can you access more content, but a VPN keeps you safe and secure and your family safe so that you can't be tracked by prying eyes of big government and big corporations. And it will not massively slow down your internet speeds or make it harder to use your devices like some other VPNs do. Private Internet Access, PIA VPN. It's quick and easy to install, and once you've downloaded it, that is pretty much it. And the great news is if you sign up for PIA VPN, you are also helping the other side heaps and getting great value for money as well. And you can sign up using our special Other Side code for less than $3 a month. That's a whopping 83% off the normal price, and you'll get the first 4 months free. Just go to piavpn.com/otherside right now to get our special deal. That's piavpn.com/otherside. If you like that clip, there's more where that came from in our full show, The Other Side. You can watch it right here, the latest episode. And please subscribe to our channel by pressing the subscribe button right here or down here. And remember to click that notification bell too. It all helps. Join us and become part of The Other Side.